find out that one of the reasons why latitudes existed but were off is that they didn't have longitudes, which came 200 years later, to balance them out better in calculations. So with that in mind, with that 16th century problem and challenge to solve in mind, I had to say, well, if it's latitude 45 for this great new city, we'll include that, but, we're going to look in a wider vein of the variance of the latitude. So because it has to be a great new metropolis that did not exist at all in his time, the only one that matches that is New York City, called the New City by him.
Yeah. Frank, that's fascinating stuff. Please continue. I mean, we appreciate your commentary here.
No, it answers my question perfectly, because I know that in Notre Dame's time, things were not exactly like we are now. Like you go to that 45th parallel, and I'm going to go to, again, him mentioning Hister instead of Hitler, and you knew that the pronunciations were not exactly going to be precise, but of course you're always going to have detractors to these people, and I'm totally into Notre Dame's readings as I am to anybody else who predicts, like Jane Dixon or whatever.
Yeah.
But
I remember your issue about Hister, though. I'd really, because it's a fascinating subject. Again, Hister, you have to go back into 16th century mindset to find out that Hister is actually the name of the Danube River.
Correct.
And it's applied sometimes in those ways, but it was H-I Gothic S-T-E-R. And it's one of the three famous anagrams trying to name the three antichrists that Nostradamus saw.
Correct.
He saw Paul Noir, which is Paul Ne Oleron in an anagram, and it means Napoleonic king. Actually using the Corsican dialect of French. It used to be called Napoleone Bonaparte. Then he made it more Frenchified and to Napoleon Bonaparte. Now, there are 5 quatrains that talk about Hister, but it's in the regards of a man who had a crooked cross as his symbol, who was called Captain of Greater Germany, who would break and make treaties in 37, 40, 41, and finally 45. And these are where a lot of his treaties happened. He broke a treaty with the Soviets in 41, invaded the Soviet Union, called Operation Barbarossa. Barb and Barbarian Barbarossa comes up a lot in his prophecy, related to Malta, which was a key battleground in the Mediterranean, happening at the same time as he was invading the Borysthenes, the Russian world.
Frank, always good to hear from you, and Happy New Year. I never got to say that to you and all the people out there as we move now into the 10th day. It's amazing how fast time will fly. Hopefully you'll continue with us, Frank, in future programs of the Dr. Sky Experience. One of the things I wanted to ask you about, I know you and I talked off air, that the fascination that Nostradamus had with roses, that's something beautiful, an interesting story right there, a most beautiful, magnificent flower. But it's also interesting that I ask you this question in talking about latitudes. Is there any truth to this? I heard this on some other radio shows years ago. There's some kind of mystical significance to the 32nd parallel north latitude, such as like Baghdad, Phoenix, Arizona, where I'm broadcasting from. And when Frank was saying before that it's bitterly cold up in Maine, hey, guess what, folks? In the New York metro area, you're at 48 degrees, and we're now to 41. So what a reversal of temperature. But the reason I'm mentioning that, talk a little bit more about this particular story, because I find this whole thing very fascinating. Did you ever hear anything about this correlation of something in world history, events happen at the 32nd parallel, or the 32nd latitude, in the North Hemisphere?
Well, the problem with that is that if you're seeking, the question is that people have to remember, most people misuse the word skeptical. I always go back to the original meaning the Greeks give to it, which means to investigate. But notice, there's crickets after that. There's no qualification, just to investigate. Not that it's true, that it's false, that, oh, I feel a bit skeptical about this, which a lot of people do. And what I say when I'm in that mood is I say I'm not being skeptical here. I'm being cynical. Because I'm aware that I have an opinion that this is wrong before I'm even looking at it. So I admit it. But most people use skepticism that way. And, of course, there's always a danger, and certainly you learn it studying Nostradamus. I'll give you an example. There are two kinds of Nostradamus scholars, the blind believers and the blind debunkers. I won't mention names, but
Okay.
But the thing I will say is one famous Nostradamus used to say, Nostradamus always gets it right. And another, who was a very famous skeptic, used to say, Nostradamus always gets it wrong. And all I can say about that is, well, to the skeptic, well, you can't deny that Nostradamus had one prophecy that he got right. He said, when I'm dead, I will be far more famous than I ever was when I was alive.
And here we are this morning with you, John Hope.
Yeah. And
Time and space, ladies and gentlemen, moves us on to Tom in New Jersey. He's been patient. Good morning, Tom. You're on with John Hope. Okay, let's go to Alexi in Queens. Good morning, Alexi. How you doing this early morning?
Good morning, Dr. Sky, and to your guest, I say good morning. And gentlemen, with no disrespect to you or your guest or your belief, but here is the story. The information of the future and predictions and reporting of history is rife, R-I-F-E, rife with errors. The Bible itself is a 3,300-year-old document. It has been revised so many times, we have no true idea what in God's name was going on.
No, this is Dr. Sky Show.
And you go
WABC 770 out of New York City. He has a show from midnight to 2 a.m. It's Dr. Sky. On Friday, Saturday morning, and also Sunday morning. He has his own show now, Dr. Sky, from 12 to 2 in the morning.
Right. They had no idea of
So it's Dr. Sky.
computers and AI. But is
He has his
that
own
right,
show.
John? I mean, not to cut Alexi
So you
off,
can listen to
but
those
many
on,
of these
yeah.
books in those days,
He's been doing it for the last couple of
spoke.
months now.
Literally, somebody the spoken word.
So he's on the
was
weekends
then
from
done right there and
midnight
put
to
into
2
whatever
a.m.
hard tablet or whatever printing they could do. It wasn't that
So
they
right
gave
now,
the
Saturday
manuscript
morning,
beforehand, right? It was done
and then
almost perfectly
tomorrow
right, translated
Well,
also.
down.
speaking of Nostradamus,
Yeah.
one of the
Pretty
reasons
cool.
why we almost
So it's
have
Dr.
all
Sky.
his vast work surviving
And, I love
the,
Dr. Sky.
times roughness on documents and all, is that he was a,
So it's on
he was
WABC.
a boy, a person.
I don't know if it's
born
syndicated. I
during
believe it's
the
syndicated,
printing
but you can also,
revolution. And
if you
so,
can't
and
pick
he
it
was
up, you
one
can
of the first
WABC app.
major bestsellers of books on almanacs,
WABC
on
770
weather,
app,
Little Ice
or
Age, those
WABC
almanacs really got involved. And then his other
radio.com, I
books that he
believe, or
wrote, and of course his famous book of
WABCradio.com.
Prophecies, which has
Yeah,
been
so it's Dr.
read
Sky.
for 4.7 centuries now. A few people on the planet have that distinction. But it's mainly because he was actually part of the modern, the Renaissance, which became the beginning of modern times, and they had printing presses, and so a lot of his work survived because of that. It makes it much easier.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I always wonder, why then didn't somebody write a full-body biography? Because there's all the material is there. I mean, you can't find that for Copernicus or anybody else of the same time. And then I realized halfway through my first draft why. You can't separate Nostradamus' reality from his myth. So my biography got the new title, Nostradamus, A Life and Myth. And it also looks at all the rich ways myth can be
That's the like button. Thank you very much.
to a perennial truth that's beyond
Well,
fact.
of course, they're talking about
So, Alexi,
Nostradamus.
does your consensus that we're hearing sound like this in summary, that due to the inaccuracies of the day and the long
Which is very
periods of
fascinating.
time and the big revisions,
I remember as a
maybe
kid
that affects, in your opinion, am I correct,
watching
that
documentary
the
about
accuracy of these
Nostradamus.
predictions is less credible to you based on what you just
Very
said? Is that a fair
fascinating.
assessment?
Yeah, in a way.
And some of his predictions
If you are
has actually
the
happened.
ability to predict the future, there are certain things certainly that even a fool could predict. But the point of it is that to hold it up as a single individual who came up with vague statements or myths or guesswork and may be right on 1 out of 500 different cases. Yeah,
Have you read Nostradamus?
I wouldn't waste my time because I know
if you haven't read it. This is not a scholar's way of doing it. I read everything. I mean, how do you explain Louis Pasteur? How do you explain...
okay, J Projects. Hello, J Projects.
See, I have read Nostradamus.
I used to have precognitive dreams, and there's something to that stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Let me say this to keep it civil. That's interesting, Alexei.
You know,
we respect
it's like
your opinions on this, but
deja vu.
respect to the audience.
Deja vu. I have. You don't have deja vu.
But no, it's a good point.
I have deja vu, and it'll happen. You know, sometimes years.
You, Alexei, as always. You know, you're.
I had a few deja vus that happened years later.
Here's something interesting, ladies and gentlemen.
And I was like, wow, I remember that. And if you're talking about years later, what happened?
What we want to talk about with you, this is interesting.
So yeah, it's
pretty
fascinating.
Some research in depth on this particular, for this particular episode. I want to talk with you in specifics. Maybe you can tease us a little bit about this. Some of the things that are going to happen in your mind is where you see from Nostradamus' perspective. You talk about we're entering into a most important years, the Roaring 20s. And you have a lot to say about that. So start off with what these interpretations in your words and Nostradamus mean for us as we move forward in time.
Well, I've been making predictions as part of having to do work with prophecy. You have to see how, when you're right, when you're wrong, and try to understand how either one happened. And so what I sense about this, first off, numerologically, this is a 10-year. It's a year of finishing, completions. Some completions are positive, others are not. And the world is in a tremendous period in this next 12 months of either completing our issue with finances in this country or seeing an end of economy as we know it, either completing and understanding the structural decline of our democracy, or finding now a new beginning that does not have democracy in it. So it's an either or. It's quite an important year, and we are going. In fact, just a day or two ago, the very things I said would happen happened, with the Oreshnik being launched to make European leaders understand where Russia really is and where their border lines can't be crossed. Mm-hmm. And hopefully it will bring a new beginning of sobriety to our world leaders, which seems to be so lacking.
Well, and we're on the precipice of, not to scare the audience, people out there are intelligent and they have opinions, but if you look at the world situation, it's just my opinion, we're so close to somebody chucking a nuclear weapon at somebody out there with the constant threats, and little things, right, John, could trigger off things like that. Like you said before, you studied the entire thing of the Cuban Missile Crisis, and a guest we had a long time ago said this, and I'll be very brief before we go to that break, that if that particular Russian submarine, which apparently was sitting in our, destroyers and aircraft carriers were sitting up above, it could have been a lot different story if that particular captain on board that submarine did not stand down, because the Kremlin they couldn't talk to. That could have changed the entire world history. But it seems like it just takes a little bit of something going offline to maybe start, hopefully cooler heads will prevail. But that bothers me. What say you on it?
I know it was the last day of the Cuban Missile Crisis, my birthday. Yeah. Even after everything was agreed upon, it could have blown up because of that incident. And it's because of that commissar who talked down the Soviet captain who was, they were running out of oxygen because the batteries were dying, and they were keeping them down in the water. So he said, no, let's just go to the surface, because we're not thinking straight.
Well, John, we'll continue with you on the other side of the hard break. but there was a nuclear-tipped torpedo there, and that could have changed. I probably wouldn't be here as a New York person when I was a boy, New York City, and so many people around the world. All it takes
incidents, just like the movie, the Bedford incidents, you know.
Absolutely. I watched that and thought that was a great movie. More with our special guest, John Hogue. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, you rule the callers, 1-800-848-9222. More with John on predictions that he has and stories that I think will open your mind about some very interesting things that he sees in the near future. More on the Dr. Sky Experience.
A former reality star is running for office in California.
This is a mission, and we are going to expose the system. We are going into every dark corner of LA politics and disinfecting the city with our light.
We have the latest on that story and much more coming up at 5.
Now, the latest from the 77 WABC Newsroom. It's not easy being a movie star. Just ask our own John Catsimatidis, who is getting rave reviews for his role opposite Timothy Chalamet in the box office smash Marty Supreme.
Well, I tell you, I mean, I played opposite Timothy Chalamet, and it was fun. I mean, we worked till midnight, till 1 o'clock in the morning. We must have did 20 takes, 25 takes.
Annoying, right?
And Josh Safdie is a perfectionist. He's the director, and he's a perfectionist.
John told Sid on Sid and Friends in the Morning that one of his co-stars, Kevin O'Leary, also had a scene with Chalamet, one that may have made some blush.
There's one scene that people, he's whacking Timothy Chalamet's butt.
Yes.
And I said to him when I interviewed him, well, was that a double? He says, yes. We started as a double.
Yeah.
But then Timothy wanted to do it himself. So all you ladies out there, when you go see the movie, that is Timothy Chalamet's butt.
And John says it seems the Shark Tank star loved getting the chance to paddle the movie star where the sun don't shine.
You could see the look on Kevin O'Leary's face, how he enjoyed doing it.
He loved it.
And they did 20 or 30 takes, and he whacked them to 3:30 in the morning.
Oh my God, that is great.
At least I got out of there by 1 o'clock in the morning. He kept whacking Timothy Chalamet's butt to 3:30.
You can see John's star turn in Marty Supreme in theaters nationwide. You can hear more of his Hollywood tales weekdays at 5 p.m. on Katz and Cosby on the radio or on the 77 WABC app. Noam Layden, WABC News. The Dr. Sky Experience is on the air. 77 WABC. Now, here's Dr. Sky.
Hi, this is Bill Newmy from Lost in Space and Babylon 5, The Twilight Zone, etc. But what's more important than that is you're listening to the Dr. Sky Show. And that's a good thing, a real good thing.
Earth-shaking fire from the center of the earth will cause tremors around the new city. Two great rocks will war for a long time. The word's translation is from Nostradamus a long time ago. John Hogue is our special guest at the top of hour number 2, and we appreciate him and his contribution to our show. Ladies and gentlemen, we continue with the callers. Let's go to Martin in upstate New York. Good morning. Your questions, comments, as we appreciate you. Thanks for being with us.
Hey, good morning, Dr. Sky.
Yes, sir.
And I have a question for John Hogue. The planet, there's a planet they say called Nemesis, and it's some kind of planet that drifts around randomly through the solar system. It seems to me something that can't be, but on the other hand, they don't tell us everything, like about the UFOs, they don't tell us everything. So where did this idea come from of a planet Nemesis?
Well, let me just jump in here. Nemesis would be considered a star that has a rogue orbit, but Nibiru would be the alleged planet. But, John, continue. You may have much more insight into this.
Well, I'm looking at what happened with 3i Atlas, and I know that some people were theorizing that it might have been a long shard from a iron core of an exploded planet. So
Sure.
if that's true, then maybe planets that have been cast out of their solar systems, there must be some. I mean, it's one of my favorite science fiction films was When Worlds Collide.
Oh, I love it. I'd love to be talking about
George.
that.
I met him, the producer. He showed me all of his paintings for the second time machine that never happened. It was really quite remarkable.
Was that George Powell? I guess
George Powell, yeah.
George Powell, yeah.
Screwball Army George.
Wow. See, this guy's got a lot of experience, folks. And if you haven't seen that movie, give it to us again because it's kind of a classic.
When Worlds Collide. I am going to be writing essays on when movies become prophecy. And there's so many that have been, by accident or by innocence, have become great prophetic works. And
save me a seat for Kubrick's epic 2001: A Space Odyssey. I do programs here. We call them a Dr. Sky Film Festival. And we get people to join us here. And we almost had Keir Dullea to join us on a video screen. Obviously, I met him once. But more important than this, those great sci-fi movies are just incredible. But Morton, are we even getting close to answering you on this? Because truly, nobody has identified either of those objects that we're talking about from the astronomical world. The Nemesis star may be way out there, billions of miles, and the Nibiru planet, I don't know. I've talked to these astronomers with the giant telescopes. They haven't found one. But what do you say, Martin? I mean, are we answering you, or we're just confusing everybody? I guess Martin's gone. Oh, he hung up. Martin hung up already. Well, we tried. Let's go to Joe in New Jersey. You're on with John Ho. Good morning. Thanks for your patience.
Doctor, excellent show, excellent topic tonight.
Thank you.
I want to ask John if you would elaborate more on Nostradamus' comments on the Antichrist.
Amazing.
He said there were three. He mentioned previously when Frank called that there were three Antichrists. If you would elaborate on that, I'd appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Yes. The first was Paul Ne Laurent, which is an anagram of Napoleon Roy. That means R-O-Y, as it was spelled in Old French, R-O-I, Roy, king. So King Napoleon. Remarkable prophecies about him. Seeing Waterloo, seeing the French army dying in the white country of Russia, all of that was in it was very lucid prophecies. The second is Hister. Now, Hister is an interesting code because Hister is the Easter with a silent H in some languages, and it's the Danube. Where was Adolf Hitler experiencing his formative years? In Linz, Austria. I've read Mein Kampf. I hold my nose, but I read it, and I've read and studied him a lot because of. In fact, I'm even looking at a book looking at his own prophecies, which are quite remarkable, but in kind of a dark prophetic way. And he's so. Like I was saying before, there's 5 quatrains that talk about him dealing with great armies, being called captain of Greater Germany. The sign of the crooked cross was his sign, the Hakenkreuz. And also, because Nostradamus is Jewish, one of the most amazing prophecies is where he calls him Barbarossa, which is the emperor of Barbarossa from the medieval times, which he codenamed his invasion of the Soviet Union. There's a lot of mentions of Russia in the prophecies, and I guess that's why I'm the only non-Russian Nostradamian that people read a lot in Russia. But anyway, those are the first 2. The third is called Mabus, M-A-B-U-S. He comes at a time, long story short, that he dies at a time when the world of animals and people is in upheaval and climate disruptions and stuff. So there's a lot of things that show that he might be our contemporary. Now, I was talking earlier about Thiokol and the rare use of Nostradamus dropping vowels. Well, if you look at Mabus, and I've written a book about the Mabus prophecies, the Nostradamus and the Antichrist, codenamed Mabus. And like the other book, you can find these at Amazon as books You know, we have a certain figure in the world called MBS. And it is interesting to me because all the prophecies of Nostradamus seem to point to a Middle Eastern figure being the third and final Antichrist. And so, you know, here's a person that everybody calls MBS is the current crown prince and future king of Saudi Arabia.
Wow. Yeah. Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
MBS.
His name, now in my book on Nostradamus and the Antichrist, I look at all the ways in which Mabus can be decoded. It's quite a study of anagrammatical decoding. And he decodes all of that. All of his names go into Mabus in Roman and
that's
Latin
my
letters.
phone.
And
got a message.
Here's the interesting thing that I'm struggling with. He's less a Hitler and more a Napoleon. Somebody who is not just abjectly evil, but a complicated character that sometimes does evil, as most political leaders and presidents and kings do. But he's more like Napoleon. He's also a visionary. He wants to, like Napoleon wanted to modernize France and revolutionize things, he also has a lot of similar traits. So he's more a gray area if he is indeed this third and final Antichrist. And one has to also play in the prophecies with Nostradamus' biases. He was a Islamophobe, very big one, because 16th century was the high water of the Ottoman Empire trying to conquer a divided Christendom.
Right, and he fought against that and spoke so much, about that in many of the things that you've described. But Joe, how are we doing on this response? Because I'm fascinated by listening to this.
I'm fascinated too. I'm like a little sponge here.
Yeah, it's amazing. But your final thoughts on this as we move on to Time and Space.
I just wanted to say, in the summertime, I was listening to a late-night TV show, radio show, and the host asked they had a nationally known psychic on this show, and he asked the psychic, what can you tell us about the Antichrist? And the psychic said, he's here, he's present on the earth with us. And then he said, what can you tell us about him? And he said, I can only tell you this, he's in his 30s and he has black hair.
Wow.
And he said that, then the host was kind of stunned. And he said, does he know he's the Antichrist? He said, if he doesn't know yet, he'll know soon.
Amazing. Wow.
Well, Nostradamus called Mabus the young dark man of evil doing. Ben Salman became the crown prince and very influential, helping his sick father when he was 34.
So let me throw this out to you, John. Maybe it's not to put you under the bus here, but who, if there's anybody out there, other than what you've said about in Saudi Arabia, is there any other candidate that what Joe's describing from your research maybe even has an idea of a name that you'd be willing to tell us? I mean, that's kind of a tough one to answer, but you got a shot at it.
Yeah, well, my general direction has been in the book Nostradamus and the Antichrist, codenamed Mabus, kind of shows that I just did it in a detective way. Everything seemed to fit to decode Mabus into all kinds of different Arabic names. And so I kind of feel like, the other thing too to understand is a lot of great religious leaders are called anti-Christ or anti-Buddhist or anti-Hindu.
How much time? I was always under the impression that one of my ex-wives
Yeshua,
or the Antichrist,
who's misnamed Jesus because his real name is Yeshua, Joshua.
I can relate to that.
Name came later, and when Christianity was Romanized.
Yeah, exes.
Every great new thinker or religious leader that revolutionizes.
Isn't it weird how
is always viewed?
At one time you loved that person so much, and that person supposedly had loved you.
Viewed Buddha,
and then they become
surprise that almost all the great founders of religion.
One of the people you want to despise him the most.
Buddha was poisoned.
It's crazy.
Muhammad was poisoned. Jesus was crucified, and so on and so forth.
And Gandhi met a sad fate too, right?
He's killed by a fellow Hindu.
That's incredible. Joe, I appreciate you, and thanks for bringing up a very interesting subject about the number 666 and what and how that relates to modern times here. We appreciate you, Joe. And folks, if we haven't gotten to Gregory in New Jersey, Lamar in North Philadelphia, and you, ladies and gentlemen, at 1-800-848-9222. You are on the Dr. Sky Experience, and we will be right back.
Hi, this is Dick Morris. When it comes to real estate in Connecticut and New York, nobody understands the market like Joe Malillo. Whether you're selling, buying, or leasing, residential or commercial, give Joe a call at
Yeah, Homer, I have no more heart to have ripped out. Yeah, I know, same here.
7325.
This is John Katzman.
Even with the current one right now.
All of our companies. I never had a fancy advertising agency. I just use common sense. We have been certified by Nielsen to be the #1 talk station in the country. Advertising? If you advertise with WABC, you will be a winner too. And why don't you email me at cats@wabcradio.com and we will create your own ad for you and make your company a winner too.
You talk. We listen. 77 WABC. This is 77 WABC Newsroom Extra.
The CEO of Google and its parent company, Alphabet, wants national AI regulation that allows America to better compete with China.
This is technology which will affect our national security, our economic leadership. So we need to make progress. So you need a pro-innovative framework, but we need to have guardrails.
Sundar Pichai told Fox News that different laws in different states is the wrong answer.
That creates a patchwork of regulations, which would really affect innovation, because for a small company, for a startup, how do you cope up with those varied regulations? And how do you compete with countries like China, which are moving faster in this technology?
He argues that a national policy on AI can help the industry grow while creating safeguards. I'm Lisa Ritchie for 77 WABC News.
The Dr. Sky Experience is on the air. 77 WABC. Now, here's Dr. Sky.
Let's talk as we move through time and space here on the Dr. Sky Show. Let's talk about something that's phenomenal here. Let's talk about you being Timmy Martin's mom in Lassie. Some 200 episodes or so?
Yeah, we did 6 years of that.
That's amazing.
And went through 4 Maine dogs. And, you know, they're all trained and ready to go if one fails. So we had 4, over the time that I worked, there were 4 Maine dogs. And then at the same time, there was a dog who did the running, a dog who did the stunts, and a dog who was a stand-in.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we continue with the Dr. Sky Experience here. And we'll continue, of course. You've been patient on the line here. Let's say good morning to Gregory in New Jersey. You're on with John Hogue. How are you this morning?
Good morning. A comment for you, Doc, and a question for Mr. Hogue.
Yes, sir.
Let's go back in time a little bit. Robert Knight had a great program on WBAI called Earthwatch.
Yes.
And I worked in evenings for many decades, and I used to love hearing your part of his program. And that led to an event that took place in August of 1991 in High Point, New Jersey. Do you remember that?
Yes, I sure do. Wow. You're being very kind from the time machine, Gregory. Yes, that's actually interesting. And not to put the audience to sleep about me, I appreciate the comment. But Robert Knight passed way on, too early onto the infinite, and it was amazing being on with him for 30 years, I guess, Gregory. That's what we did, and joining up with High Point, at High Point, New Jersey, at the big monument up there. That was our night sky place. So we appreciate you mentioning that.
There were hundreds of our neighbors there, all from northwestern New Jersey, in fact, the whole metropolitan area. And I've seen a lot of science stuff through my decades. You were such a virtuoso just with a flashlight, flashing on stuff into the sky with the asteroid. All I can say is, thank you a third of the century later. That was amazing.
Wow, that's amazing, my friend. We bring the powerful laser there, and we did have, not to continue to be on a soapbox, but Gregory, we had 5,000 people there in April of 1986 for Halley's Comet. We had people of all different ethnic groups, all different religions, all different persuasions, and actually we got in trouble because we only supposedly have to have 100 or 200 people, but 5,000 came in big buses So that was an amazing event. But please continue with John Hoke. I appreciate your commentary.
Well, people still pass High Point. They go, that's where Dr. Sky. Remember that? Yeah, man,
it's fun.
That was.
I miss it.
That was 30 years. That was an incredible time.
Well, come out to Arizona because we do the Big Dolly Steamboat Cruise on a canyon lake there. It's beautiful. And the night dinner, we have a dinner cruise. But that's at dollysteamboat.com for people who may want to know. But please continue with John.
And you can't go to a New Jersey diner after in Arizona. Come on, Doc, you know?
Hey, I missed that. Oh, we don't have diners out here, really. So
there you go. So Robert, are we at the end of 250 years of America beginning
It's John.
The revolution?
No, you're talking with John.
John. Sorry. Yeah.
No problem.
Also, if you're familiar with the Eastern Orthodox Church, there's a couple of saints now who are being talked about the end of the world. Elder Paiso of the Holy Mountain of Athos, and a couple other recently canonized folks. I have to ask you, in relation to that, there's a Tibetan, some type of scroll or whatever that's talking about the potential end of things in 2030 if we don't come to our senses. You guys know anything about that? And any comments about the saints in the Eastern Church, especially with what's going on in that part of the world?
Appreciate your questions and comments, Gregory. Thank you.
Yes, it's the Eastern Church is, I think, in some ways, the great split that happened between the Latin Church and the Eastern Church came from, at least the Eastern Church believed was that the Latin Church was changing things. And one of the things that I admire about Eastern Orthodox Christianity, it's just my opinion, it just feels closer to the origin than the Western Church does to me. And I also like the way the Eastern Church is not trying to tell God what to fulfill as prophecies. It just trusts that God will fulfill and do whatever he needs, and I feel often that, this is just my view, that Eastern Orthodox Christians that I meet are just trying to live how Christ would live, rather than try to change the world and create what I called in one of my chapters in my Messiah. I wrote a coffee table book looking at all the Messianic traditions of the world, and about 37 of them. And I just like how the thing that you run into is that
I'm right next to the furnace.
Everybody thinks their religion,
so of course, pretty warm in here.
The truth, and all the others do not. But what
water heater's right here. Is the water heater?
Maybe none of
furnace is right next to me.
Picture of things.
So yeah, it's nice and toasty in here.
We're the best, and everybody isn't. Now, some are polite. The Buddhists are polite about it. The Christians are right out there with it.
Well, I hate to catch you guys short, but Gregory, God bless. Those are wonderful comments about the questions, and I appreciate you from the memories.
Although outside tonight,
as time moves forward. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Although outside tonight, it's
John,
about 40.
Here in just a momentary
45
time and space. So let's say good morning to Lamar.
Fahrenheit. It's pretty mild tonight.
How are you doing up there?
It's supposed to go up to the 50s later on today.
One time, a part of the protection.
We're gonna have rain later on. We're gonna have rain all day, so it's pretty mild
for
this time of the year.
St. John,
so,
and I recall vividly at their compound.
Yeah, it's nice and toasty in here. Of course, I love hanging on the room.
Prominently displayed of their ancestor, His Serene Highness Prince Robert.
This is like my quiet room for myself.
There was one with His Serene Highness, with the late
son is upstairs playing. Wife is asleep right now. She has to get up early. My son is up a little late.
Queen Sophia of Spain, as
he'll go to bed.
Queen of Spain.
He has no school tomorrow, so.
And they also
I like to stay down here and listen to AM radio all night.
Ill-fated
Romanov
family. In any case,
that's what I do.
At the soirees that they had, which were many and quite
yes, very warm,
quite opulent, one of their favorite evening topics was these so-called wise men. However, they seem to be more interested in men like Rasputin and the infamous Count Cagliostro. What is the guest assessment of the seeing so-called abilities of Cagliostro and Rasputin. And my follow-up question is this. What need do we have of these mortal men, these so-called wise men, when we have the one true source book of all wisdom and knowledge that tells us what was, what is, and what is
one more
to come?
time. Here, the low tomorrow is 36 Fahrenheit, and the high is 48 Fahrenheit, no rain. Okay.
DVD or documentary.
Yeah, right now, this weekend's going to be mild.
Continue, please. Lamar, that's
we're going to have some rain tomorrow. And then Sunday's supposed to be nice, sunny, in the high 40s.
Where to enter into this?
So, high 40, maybe even 50
as I was just
Sunday.
saying, I've been all over the world, and I've heard very sincere people, as sincere as the telephone person.
Well, that snow that we had recently is all melted. It's all gone.
The Dhammapada
So no more snow.
is it.
All the snow is melted away.
The Quran is all.
Now we had a couple of weeks ago.
And it's interesting how all of them share such a total embrace of what they believe, but they're all saying it, that they're the one. And I just wonder if what has to come in the world is where we live it. And, it's also true that we all have a divine spark in us. And I think ego can get very sophisticated, especially when it gets tied to religion. What I mean is identification comes from the word idios, ancient Greek, which means two things. The Greek always has the obvious definition and the hidden silent definition. The obvious definition is under a belief that I am separate from the world, separate from God, separate from the source. But it also means, it's where we get the word idiosyncratic, ideology. It means idiot. And Gurdjieff, a great Christian mystic of the 20th century, George Ivanovich Gurdjieff, used to reverently call his disciples, if they were talking to them collectively, he'd say, you idiots go dig a hole over there, and you idiots will make dinner tonight. and he meant it he meant it reverently, and then I realized idios is not a bad word. It is our state of being. I am an idiot. All of you are idiots. We are under the illusion, shared idiocy, that we are separate from the divine. That's why the number 666 actually means those human beings living forgetting their divine source. It means
Lamar, I wish I had more time and wish we did, but if you want to get in earlier in the conversation with the shows, we'd certainly like to give you more opportunity to respond too. John, it's the end of the show, but not the end of the line here. I'd love to do this again with you again. We only scratched the surface on some subject matter. Hopefully it's informative to everyone out there. John's website, once again, is ogprophecy.com. He talks about these particular subjects, the history of Nostradamus, the predictions. You can learn so much more. And I do appreciate it, John. I mean, this is interesting. You and I met at the stage, the Everett Theater, and that was interesting to be on stage there with other illustrious guests that brought some interesting conversation to the table there. And I do hope we'll do this again. So thank you so much for your time, and really enjoyed it. And you have a good morning and a peaceful 2026 to each and every one of you out there, and to you, John. Thank you for your time. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we wrap up the show. Don't forget, we call this the night of Jupiter, so if you're out in dark skies and it's clear, the cold shouldn't bother you. It's freezing here in Phoenix, and it is also cold in New York and everywhere in between. The mighty object that you see that's nearly overhead for a good portion of the country right now, the mighty planet Jupiter, closest to the Earth right now for the entire year, a little over 393 million miles away. And tomorrow, as we continue with the Dr. Sky Experience, we'll talk with great aviation authors about the great sacrifice many young people made flying B-17s, and a space update with our very special guest, who, of course, Rob will be talking about what's happening with the story of what's happening on the International Space Station. They'll be bringing back a number of the crew to a yet undisclosed medical condition, something that hasn't been done in quite a long time, if not the first time. And thanks to our helmsmen, both Tony and Bill, for navigating the signal.
This is New York's talk leader, the crown jewel of talk radio. New York, WRCR Haverstraw, and 107.1 WLIR Hampton Bays. News first at 59 past the hour.
77 WABC News starts now.
Mostly cloudy skies on this Saturday, January 10th. Good morning. I'm Lisa Ritchie.
Yeah.
The investigation is continuing.
Elmer, we haven't had any snow in the Willamette Valley this winter at all. No snow, no ice, barely any rain until recently.
Released about the agent who was involved.
We could still get some snow in February, however, okay. And normally by this date,
seriously injured in a traffic stop
we should see some true snow or ice storms. Yeah.
Sex offender who dragged Ross.
Well, over here in New York, near New York City, you know, the last few years we have very mild winters.
To run over the agent, but local officials dispute
this
that,
winter so far we had a couple of snow, but nothing major.
Illinois Congresswoman Robin Kelly
So
says
really the last
plans to
5,
file
6
articles
years,
of impeachment against Homeland
it's been
Security
pretty mild
Secretary Kristi Noem.
in terms of
Perry Williams
snowfall.
has more.
The U.S. Senate
Here in the New York
Kennedy
City
will
area.
take action due to the recent shooting
So,
death of a woman in Minneapolis by an
I can't
ICE
complain,
agent.
you know.
Kelly
Okay.
also says Nome has
Yeah, we get a few cold days, but
There were federally appropriated
I'm going to say
funds
overall,
for
winter's been very
cities
mild.
that had disasters, and she had
The
some
last-
funds from going into those cities, and of course,
Well, it's been a while. Yeah, I'm going to say
Democratic.
last
Congresswoman
6 or
Kelly
7
added that
years.
Nome has turned ICE into a rogue force,
You know,
violating the Constitution,
nothing like-
tearing families apart.
Like I remember 12 years ago,
Police
we had a
arrested 6
really
people on Thursday
snowy
night
winter
during a demonstration outside of the ICE building in South Portland.
to the point where
Monica
my
Nelson reports.
garage
This
roof
followed the shooting earlier in the day
Was-
of 2 people in Portland by Border Protection.
was
Police say
Boeing.
around 9 p.m. the crowd was blocking
Literally,
the entrance
that's
to
how
the
much
building.
snow we had.
Officers used a sound truck to move the crowd back.
Ever since
onto
then,
the
we never had
sidewalk.
nothing
6 people
near
were
that.
arrested on a variety of charges, including interfering with a peace
One more time,
officer
our
and
last
disorderly
decent
conduct.
snowfall
I'm
was back in 2008.
Authorities
Okay.
in Iran are
Yeah,
cutting
so,
telephone
yeah.
lines and internet access as severe economic conditions.
I mean, we still
fuel
have
angry protests across the
January,
country.
February.
President Trump claimed on Thursday that protesters had taken
In
control
fact,
of
I
Iran's
remember that
second-biggest
year,
city. He renewed
the
his
snowiest
threat to
winter
attack
we had
Iran
in
if protesters
years.
were killed.
We had
Mayor
snow all the way
Ilham
till
Mamdani is
April.
addressing 2 deadly police-involved
I remember that
shootings
year.
happened last night. Speaking this morning,
All the way to April.
In a situation such as this, you have to be very
Early
intentional
April, we
in what
had,
you share.
you know,
And so, while I was briefed about
snow.
this late last evening, I wanted to make sure that
Man, I was like
everything
13 years ago.
was the language
12 or 13
that
years
we
ago.
wanted them to know about this.
But ever
A
since, we
man
never
was
had
fatally
nothing
shot by police
like
after
that.
brandishing what turned out to be a fake weapon
Yeah.
during a road rage incident in Greenwich
Oh, no,
Village.
thanks.
While another
Yeah.
man wielding a sharp object at a Brooklyn hospital was also
I think that
fatally
year we
shot by
broke the
police.
record.
New Jersey health officials
For
say
New York City.
unfortunately a child under 5 years old is the state's first confirmed pediatric flu death of the season. Levon Putney has more.
The young child is said to be from the northern part of the state and had no prior medical conditions. State Acting Health Commissioner Jeff Brown sent condolences to the child's family, but also said in a statement that this flu season is shaping up to be a serious one, so using this to remind residents the flu vaccinations are recommended for kids under 5, people 65 and older, pregnant women, and people with asthma, diabetes, and other conditions. I'm Levon Putney.
President Trump is not considering a pardon for Diddy. Lisa G reports.
It looks like Sean Diddy Combs is going to have to serve out his prison sentence after all. President Trump told the New York Times that the rapper and businessman sent him a letter seeking a pardon, but he won't be granting the request. This comes after Combs told inmates at the Federal Correctional Institution Fort Dix that he would get a presidential pardon from the president in early 2026. Combs is currently serving a 50-month sentence after being convicted on prostitution charges. Lisa G, 77 WABC News.
In sports, the Giants are still searching for a new head coach. Former Ravens coach John Harbaugh really likes the Giants, and the interest is mutual. New York is pushing to get Harbaugh
Yeah, no Diddy party.
early next week. They've already met with former Browns coach Kevin Stefanski.
Exactly.
Twice. From the 77 WABC Weather Center, overnight, mostly cloudy skies, a little breezy, and the low 47 degrees. Later on today, the rain moves in. It will be heavy at times.
He got
with a high
lucky,
of
though.
46.
He was facing
With
decades
increasing sunshine by
of prison.
afternoon and
So he
a high
got
of
50
46
months.
degrees. We have
So with
mostly
time
cloudy
served,
skies outside of our Midtown studios right now.
maybe about 3.5
I'm
years
Lisa
he'll be
Richie.
out.
Remember, the news never stops at
Oh, 3 years.
WABCRadio.com.
So, but I think that you know,
Stars running for office in California.
Trump has 36 months more or less, right? And he's doing 50 months. I think on the last day, Trump is gonna commute his sentence. He just don't want to do it now because it's too much, you know. But I think he's gonna do it. I think before he leaves, he's gonna
tips on how to deal with it. Cleveland Clinic.
he's gonna commute his sentence and pardon him.
Powell recommends taking a good
I think he's gonna do it.
moisturizer and using
He's
it
gonna
right
do it.
after the shower.
But not right now. I think it'll be in 2028
Red, itchy, that could be more
when
than
that
developing
happens.
like eczema or dermatitis. It would be
It's my
important
opinion.
then to see a dermatologist.
The doctor also says avoid fragrance and avoid an overly hot shower, which can strip moisture away from the skin. She also recommends using a humidifier at night and putting petroleum jelly on dry areas before bed.
So no Diddy party right now, but I think
plenty of water and eat water.
at 2028 before Trump leaves,
wear gloves
I think he's gonna
outside,
pardon
and when
him.
doing dishes to shield hands from cold water.
I think he's
Also
gonna do
wear
it.
soft fabrics. Lisa G, 77 WABC News.
Faster than a 4-hour radio show. More powerful than a podcast. Able to leap to all topics with a single listen.
I think I'm gonna go on. I'm gonna go out on a. I'm gonna go out on a stretch. I think even Harvey Weinstein
Everything you need to know.
in 2028 he might commute his sentence only because Harvey Weinstein is in poor health. So I don't be surprised in 2028 he might commute his sentence.
Studios, here's TJ McCormack.
Just saying. Johnson & Johnson stuff will go up in 2028, yeah. Baby oil, yeah. Let me load this down. I got hit with a copyright because of this. Let me load this down because I got hit with the copyright notice because the soundtrack of his intro. So let me wait a couple of minutes. Yeah, my last live stream when TJ McCormick was on, the intro got me with a copyright strike. And the problem with YouTube is that even if you challenge a copyright notice, anyway, I just don't want to talk about it because, well, yeah, they really nickel and dime you for every little soundtrack. It's ridiculous. It really is. Oh, forget it. Still going on. Just gonna wait till it's over. Because that's what they hit me with last time. Your video cannot be monetized because of this. Like, so when I'm gonna be monetized? Like, I'm monetized, but none of my videos are monetized because they take all the money. Like, give me a break. Can I have one video that's not monetized? I mean, that's monetized for me. Like the live stream earlier today. Yeah, they stuck a copyright on one of my videos because of a sound effect. I'm telling you, they're nickel and diming you. But and you're not even monetized.
Go right
Okay, here we go.
to this. Ever since,
So this is TJ McCormick.
Drama ensued. Ever since the news broke And since the news broke, and I was on TV the day after, as more news broke with protests and stuff, except for a couple hours on daytime news television on Wednesday, I think it was. Might have been Thursday. I've been sort of waiting my turn. I've been chomping at the bit. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. And so forgive me if the first couple of minutes here are sort of all over the place, because now it's going from a trickle to a garden hose to a fire hydrant. I'm just ready to just spew. And it's, and I'm absolutely, I'm not terribly emotional about this. I'm not terribly offended about a lot of it. I'm not, terrifically exorcised about all of it. I don't see this purely through the lens, or at all through the lens of Republican and Democrat and liberal and conservative. I see this as what I like to think as a responsible, somewhat, most of the time responsible adult. As someone who, yes, I have real deep opinions, but I'm constantly checking them. Because a long time ago, I threw out a lot of my ego. Believe it or not. If you, honestly, I'm actually trying to regain and resurface a lot of the ego that I kind of left behind about 20 years ago when I gave up drinking. Sobriety has a lot to do with humility, and I think I threw some of the ego baby out with the ego baby bathwater. And so anyway, so the point of that is, when I express a big, sharp opinion, there's a lot of checks and balances that I place on myself going into that and coming out of it, and I do a lot of self-exploration, and I think about, I'm very contemplative, I'm very wary, I apologize.
About the lesbian mother with 3 kids.
And I double down when I know that I'm right, and I know that my opinion is sound.
Exactly,
I'll double down and triple down, and I won't let go. If there's a moment when I think I might have wobbled in my reasoning, I'll say so.
And then you go antagonize.
If I've offended, I'll apologize.
I don't know what her priorities were at. Sorry.
And
of course, she took a bullet to the head.
To take it sort of from the top.
So I'll leave it at that.
When I think about what happened and with all the videos that have dropped in the last 36 hours.
I mean, who does that?
It's become clear that it could have gone either way. It's become clear that 2 and 3 things can all be true at the same time. That he could have just fired once. He might not have had to have fired at all. He, I
don't have the PL330, so.
Is it training? No, yes, no training. There's ICE. ICE is not local police.
I have the PL660.
They don't get that kind of training. Local police don't do this kind of work, and
it's a nice radio, the
PL660. At the very tippity top of it.
But I love the SX data.
Who made a choice?
That was my go-to radio, the PL660. As soon as I bought this radio, that radio is collecting dust now.
Interfere with.
So I'll just leave it at that.
Based on her convictions, okay? Earnest convictions, wrong-headed, in my opinion. Her choice. She made a choice, a decision to go and obstruct law enforcement.
Exactly.
And again, The reason that I'm going for this here, gang, is because I'd love to take advantage of the silence, take advantage of the lack of breaking news, take advantage of the quiet of the early morning and the late night, depending on where you are in the Red Apple Audio Network, where you are around the country or around the world listening on the web. Take advantage of the hindsight that we have now. This is not rapid fire breaking news. This isn't, and we're going to go to, and here now with comment is, here's a press conference. We're not doing it. It's just us and our minds, myself included. It's us. We have the benefit of hindsight. We have the benefit of like 2.5 news cycles to inform us. So I'm just simply broaching the subject here that yes, it's the only thing we've all been talking about. I'm sorry. I just can't get into, let's talk about your favorite, show tunes. That is not yet. So she makes the decision to interfere.
Yep, exactly.
With law enforcement. And I look at it as terribly irresponsible.
Exactly.
Terribly irresponsible.
Exactly.
Because I'm putting myself in that situation. I make just about every, and by the way, what if she's a mom. I believe
exactly.
She is a widow.
You're a mom.
She is a gay woman with a wife now, and the wife has made statements and stuff.
You're a parent.
We'll get into the politics.
Why are you trying to risk yourself being arrested?
In the communications and the ideology. We'll get into the ideology.
Not only you didn't get arrested, you got shot in the head.
Certainly the red meat of all this. But just to give
I have
us
no
the
sympathy.
entree.
I have zero sympathy
This
for that.
woman is a mother.
Zero.
And exactly what is supposed to be pulling at our heartstrings is exactly why I believe it, why I say, and so many agree, that it was terribly irresponsible. What the hell are you doing? I make just about every decision I make, from I got to go pick up milk to I got to pay that bill to I got to slow down on this ice. Winter ice, not immigration ice. I got to tap the brakes. I got to downshift and not jam on the brakes here on the highway. I base all of these. That's all.
Exactly.
Dad.
Zero sympathy for people who don't respect the laws. Exactly.
I love my daughters. I want to stay safe and alive. I want to keep them safe and alive. I'll make a decision to not buy this over here, but rather put the new brake pads on over there to keep my babies safe and alive, and myself and my wife safe and alive for them. Honestly, they say almost all fears are based on a fear of not being loved or a fear of not being enough. I think when you're a parent, all decisions, similarly, all this can boil down to you're a parent. Almost every purchase, every judgment, every value choice, every determination is based upon what's best for your family. You'd like to think.
Exactly.
I mean, God, I pick baseball seats so we don't get sunstroke. Honestly, if I want to take my girls to a Yankee game, I want to make sure that, honestly, I think that is, I don't want to give them a sunburn. So if we're going to a day game, I want to make sure we sit in the shade. Yes, me too, but certainly them. I want them to be comfortable. I'll buy 10 more minutes in my day if it means that I can spend 10 more minutes with my girls or my wife in a slow moment and not a rushed hi hello. And so this woman, yes, strong convictions. God, honorable to have
she's
convictions.
selfish. She was selfish.
To live up to them. Honorable
I'm gonna say
to put
she was
your money
selfish.
where your mouth is. Honorable.
She didn't give a fuck about her kids.
To walk the walk.
I said it. There you go. I said it. Sorry, you don't like it?
Honorable to
I
do
said
all
it. There you go. I
when
said it.
They're the responsible things to do.
She didn't give a fuck about her kids. Thank you very much.
And in this case,
It's all about her.
I feel it's a wasted effort.
Fuck around, you found out.
I
There you
feel
go.
it's a
Sorry.
waste.
There you go. Said it.
Not only is it a waste because it didn't do any good, it didn't move the needle, but it's especially a waste because here comes the ideology. Here comes the opinion. Here comes the red meat.
Irresponsible.
At least a starter. Here's some
Fucking
cocktail
probably
meatballs
full of
for you.
herself.
Here's some pigs and blankets. Oh,
Ego
that's not red
fucking
meat. The hell is
maniac.
it? Pork, nasty pork.
Ego
Processed. Here's some
maniac.
processed pork.
Probably thought she was gonna
It was
get
a waste.
views on Instagram or whatever the fuck.
Because the tears, in my opinion,
Thought she was gonna wind up on the View or some shit, and she got a bullet in the fucking head. There you go.
Alligator tears. They are.
Sorry.
Faux tears. They are.
Sorry
faux
about that.
Tears.
No, I'm not sorry.
The outrage is a farce. The outrage is not genuine on the left because I believe
Exactly. Fuck
for
them.
the left,
Fuck them.
the ends
Sorry.
justify everything. The ends justify everything
Exactly.
for the left. It doesn't matter that some
Okay.
dude.
And you know, let me. And I'll go one step further. I'm gonna hear you. I'm gonna lower this down. I'm gonna go one step further. You know why this happened? They ratcheted this shit up because Minnesota was under scrutiny over the fucking fraud shit. So that's what they do. Anytime the attention is on them, oh my God, you fucking Somali fraud bullshit. They had to fucking, okay, let's go out there and agitate ICE, the hell out of ICE, until what happened, it backfired on them. Because, it did backfire because one of them got killed. She got shot in the head. That's it. But of course, they're going to use that. They don't give a fuck about her. You think the left gives a fuck about this woman? They're going to use her to get the attention away from the fraud. That's it. There you go. I said it right here. I fucking said it right here. There you go.
Justice. The ends justify everything. For the left, this woman died as she was out there fighting what she thought was the good fight, while in the end...
Exactly. They used her as a leverage.
Doesn't give a damn.
Don't give a fuck about her.
Care. Tim Walz doesn't care that she's dead. In fact, for them, it's good that she's dead. It's good. They needed a body. And this is what I feel. And I'm not just lighting a talk radio fire. I promise you, I am not just
He just said what I said. There we go.
Fire. I genuinely. And by the way, this isn't just.
You just said what I
think
said.
that facts add up to this. Take a look at politics. Take a look at elected officials.
I'm gonna fuck about her.
I've been in war
They're gonna milk that shit. They're gonna milk that shit.
Involving nefarious garbage.
They're gonna milk that lesbian fucking martyr shit until they forget about the fucking fraud. That's what it is. Get the fuck out of here.
From the
Get the fuck
Minneapolis
out of here.
child care.
My man, bro. My
$9
man right here speaks the
fraud
truth.
saga. If this was the Super Bowl weekend, they would have been sitting around a room going, listen, Governor Walz, you can breathe easy. Everybody's going to be talking about
it's all
Super
bread and
Bowl
circus, folks. Look
until
over
Tuesday.
there.
You're golden. Just sit there. Keep your head down. Boom. Snowstorms. Mr. Governor, get out there. Tell people to drive slow. Mayor, get out there. Tell people that the plows are coming. We'll put you on. We'll do a ride along with the plow. We'll get you out there. They would have been happy for that distraction. This distraction that they got, it's everything they wanted. The ends justify everything. They're on the side of the angels, these leftists. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. There's plenty to talk about here on Another Side of Midnight with me, TJ McCormick. We'll talk about this.
I'm glad. Yeah, you listen. I said it earlier. That's what happened. That's what happened. They're gonna milk this shit. They're gonna milk this shit because they want to get the attention away from the fraud in Minnesota. The Leering Center. Give me a fucking break. Oh shit! There's a oh yeah, ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis. Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Fucking stupid. You know you're fucking you're a fucking. You are a fucking parent. Why the fuck are you out there agitating fucking law enforcement? You just dropped off your kid from school or something. You know what most parents do when they drop off their kid from school? They go to work. They go to work. Usually when a parent drops off a kid from to school or daycare, is to go. They gotta go to work or they gotta do something else. Not to fucking agitate law enforcement. Give me a fucking break. Fuck you. Give me a fucking break. The fuck out of here. The fuck out of here. Fucking bullshit.
What will tomorrow bring? Which firm should I choose to represent me and my family? At Morgan & Morgan, we will hold your hand every step of the way. From our one-click sign-up, mobile apps, and 24/7 availability, we make it easy to get your case started right from the comfort of your couch. All firms are not the same. The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
77 WA.
Mystery comment. Hey, it's your roommate. Peanut butter is missing again. Whatever. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. You have to have a dog. Anyway, I don't have a dog, so I don't know. Whatever.
For Cousin Brucey at 6. Plus, I open up the vinyl vault, dusting off and
I don't know what he's talking about.
So join me, Vinny Medunio, on the dance.
Of course, this music right here probably give me a little comment. Jesus Christ. Yeah, so I keep it real here, bro. They're just gonna milk that shit for what it is. Another fucking another crisis. Oh my god! Oh, get the fuck out of here! I'm a fucking citizen of this country. You think I give a fuck what ICE does down the block? You think I give? You think I'm gonna interfere with that shit? No, take them all out of here. Get rid of all of them. I don't give a fuck. No fucking break. Stupid. She fucked around and she found out. That's what happened. Bullet right to the fucking head. Instead of just fucking dropping off your kid and go fucking grocery shopping, whatever the fuck you gotta do. No, you're trying to be a fucking antagonist. And trying to get fucking, whatever, internet clout and shit. Trying to wind up on a highlight reel, except it backfired and you literally fired in your head. So fuck you.
Before the holidays, and we've had holidays, we've had some loss, there's been some sadness here in the family, but we're together again, and I think
I said it.
Damn fine. Just 3 black dudes doing our thing. Thank you very much. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Talking about Minneapolis, talking about this awful situation. I took no pleasure in any of this at all. And there are sick people on both sides who were just salivating for this. There are people who were dancing at the commotion and watching. There were people who there were people on the right who were just quick to say aha and gotcha and good for them, good for ICE and fire away and all that. And there were people on the left who were hoping that
James,
somebody would drop an ICE agent somewhere along the way.
Yeah, we're fed up with this. We know the game
and there
already.
were some people on the left.
We know the game.
Officials
This is all
who were hoping for political cover. from
A
all
show
this.
game. It's a show game.
I mean, 24 hours before this happened. Was it 24 hours? At least 36 hours. Tim Walz dropped out of...
Exactly.
Tim Walz dropped out of the governor's race, decided not to run for re-election because of all of the headwinds that the Somali child care scandal, the $9 billion scandal, was causing so many headwinds that he dropped out. Pundits, opinion people were saying, in light of the shooting, that Walz might very well just get right back in. I mean, that's how obvious it was that he was doomed 36 hours before, and now this lady dies. That gave him fresh life. That put wind in his sails. Can you believe this?
Political lifeline right there.
I mean, it is just about the ugliest business is politics. Some of the least impressive people, some of the least impressive here. And by the way, you're gonna get on the wrong side of law enforcement for these people, and you can pick either one. You think that it's worth it to unseat Donald Trump? You think that getting in the way of federal law enforcement, that Donald Trump's political career is worth it? The country's gonna go on. MAGA's gonna happen or it's not. Why waste your time and in this case, God forbid, your life for this? Trust me, I've been on the inside. It ain't worth it. It's not. Stuff's gonna happen or it's not. You want to go and affect real change? You want to demand term limits. Demand term limits. And once and for all, not allowing, making it illegal for elected officials, for members of Congress to trade on the stock market. You want to affect real change here? Do that. Demand that get rid of earmarks in bills. Get rid of that pork. Make earmarks illegal for home districts and all that stuff. But start with term limits and disallowing, prohibiting. Sometimes the words just don't come at 2:30 in the morning Eastern time. Prohibiting. Start with term limits and prohibiting members of Congress and their spouses from trading stocks. You want to see real change? Bam, right there. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. And you know, here's the other thing, too. Okay. You want to show up. You want to block the street. You want to slow them down. Yeah, I mean, you can twist my arm. Okay. You figure, okay, we'll drive slow. We'll get, okay. But look, these men and women in law enforcement, federal law enforcement, local, state, local, county cops, man, their whole goal is to get home at night. Oh, but the black and brown people that they're arresting, they just want to go home too. They have to follow the rules. Forget the mission. Forget the mission and the orders that they're operating on. Forget that. Just the law enforcement.
All right,
aspect
I'm
of
gonna
it.
take care.
These men and women,
good night.
their life's goal is to get home
Take care.
safe.
And have
they
a
want
great
to
weekend.
survive the shift.
And thank you for
to
stopping by,
see
Homer.
The absolute disregard. the absolute willingness to endanger multiple lives. By the way, that's not rhetoric. The woman died. We're not just talking about protecting the lives of the law enforcement. We're talking about all lives. All lives matter. All lives. Hey, did anybody happen to mention, thank God nobody was standing where her Honda Pilot went flying to? Can you imagine if there was like,
on the sidewalk, right?
a family of 3 onlooking?
But she went on the sidewalk and hit the other
3
car.
or 4 more protesters? Or another lesbian couple, waving and saying, hi, hey, do we know you from the softball league?
Exactly.
Sorry.
Well, of course, they're not going to talk about that. Well, by then she had a
Pat and Lucille. Pat and Lucille, it's us.
Anyway, by then she had a bullet in her head anyway. She couldn't drive anyway. The bullet was already in her head.
Imagine if there was like another onlooker. Imagine if there's a member of the press. Imagine if there was another one. There was nobody, by the grace of God, there was nobody standing
and then they
by
went on the
that car
sidewalk
where,
and then
where her Honda
and
Pilot went
that
careening
car.
into.
So yeah, exactly.
There could have been 3, 4 other people dead in this situation because she made earnest, honorable. You can, like I said at the top, 2, 3 things can be
It's
correct
irresponsible.
at the same time. You can be
Ego,
they can be
fucking,
a couple of things can actually be
TDS.
A lot of things aren't mutually exclusive. Her decision
Lesbo.
could have been honorable and irresponsible at the same time.
Yep, exactly.
It can be earnest and stupid.
Yeah, right, exactly.
At her core, she's driven to protect people who are breaking the law from, the people who want to enforce that law. Okay.
I believe even the brother-in-law already spoke out about that.
And irresponsible.
The brother-in-law
to get in
already
the way of
said
law
that
enforcement
she should have minded
for
her own
everybody
business.
involved, including your damn self.
So
To wit, she died. And
even
by
the
the way,
brother-in-law said that shit.
the most
she don't mind her fucking
basic
business.
thing that happened here, or didn't happen, but the most basic of societal norms and standards. She didn't listen. She didn't comply with law enforcement. Something has happened in this country where, it happened a long time ago, of course.
Yeah, it was a long time
Disobedience,
ago.
of course.
The anti-law
But now
enforcement rhetoric happened a long time
hate.
ago.
Now it's about like real proper
This
hate.
goes back to Obama.
And it's
so.
about disruption at all costs.
Yep.
And
Thank you, Obama. Thank
anyway,
Obama for that one.
if she had just listened to him in the first place,
Worst president we had in
if
recent
she
history.
had moved on when she was supposed to move on, or when he told her to get out of the car because she had
Big
not
Mike.
moved on quick enough, and he said, get out of the car. If she had gotten out of the car, this would not have happened. Again, there are so many decision points along the way when it comes to bad situations. Everything from drunk driving, to murder, to fights, to simply disagreements in the kitchen with my wife. There are so many points along the way for me to go from being tired, arrogant, selfish, and snotty
DWS. Driving while stupid.
to actually
There you go.
taking the bait or giving my wife grief or something like
Booyah.
that, and actually engaging and being a jerk and having an unnecessary argument with my wife. So many. That's why I'm so disappointed in myself when I do find myself
You
in
play
an
stupid
argument with
games,
my
you win
wife
stupid
that is
prizes. There you go.
unnecessary and
Booyah.
wrong and just
Booyah!
something I wish just didn't happen, was that I had opportunity after opportunity after. Now, granted, they could all be within the span of 94 seconds. They come in rapid succession. You got to be on your toes in life. Like an ICE agent, like a protester, you got to be on your toes when you're a husband with a big mouth and a short temper and a selfish attitude. But there are so many opportunities to not be shut up, as I've said so many times on this program. So many opportunities to be shut up. So many opportunities this woman had to be alive today.
Yep.
And again, for what?
Darwinian. It's Darwinian, bro. It's Darwinian.
Tim Walz?
Darwinian, bro. You know? Darwinism, bro.
Who have just broken law after law after law? And yeah. Federal immigration law is real law.
That shit is real, bro. Darwinism is real, bro.
It's not. This is news for the left.
That shit is real, bro. Darwinism,
And
bro.
I'm not the first one. It's not okay.
A little common
And I'm
sense
gonna
would
get
have
to
saved your
Martin
life,
in
bro.
just a second.
For
Thank
real,
you for
bro.
calling in, Martin. 1-800-848-9222.
That's facts.
Dying.
Common
to
sense
hear
would have
what
saved your life, bro.
All of you have been thinking these last few days. Tell me
You're not
if
gonna
your
hear that
mind
anywhere
has
else, bro.
changed on anything.
Facts.
Tell me if you have become more agitated towards the left. Tell me if you are more
And
convicted.
of course, they're gonna use that.
Have you become softer?
They're
since
gonna
this woman
milk
died?
that event
Have you begun to
to
think is
distract
any of
from
this worth
the
it? Have you begun to
fraud
think
in
that?
Minnesota.
Have you begun to think, wow, how is this going to parlay into the midterms?
Yep.
How is this going to parlay into MAGA?
Yep.
What's going to happen? Is this worth it? Do you wish the fog would clear
that's the
so
talking
we can
points.
concentrate on taking
They're
down
gonna be
the
the talking
corruption
points.
in
He
the
unleashed ICE on
child
the.
care scandal
He
and
unleashed
everywhere
ICE.
else?
He
Is all
unleashed
of
the
this
federal
worth it?
troops.
Is it about the ends justifying everything on the right? Well,
dictatorship.
1-800-848-9222. Had the events of the last few days, and again, here we are, Saturday morning.
Instead of looking at the stock market,
with the benefit of hindsight.
Now it's about to
we
hit
know a hell of a
50,000
lot more now
people. The Dow's
than
about
we
to hit
did
50,000.
When we heard the breaking news that there was an
All right, yeah, keep that shit in mind, bro. Dow Jones Industrial Average is about to hit 50,000. We at an all-time high. So if you got a 401k or whatever retirement fund you have, you're doing good right now, bro. You're doing good. You're doing good. NASDAQ is at 29,000. Okay? This is insane numbers. So if you got a 401k or 453B, whatever the hell you got, retirement, you're sitting good right now. You understand? But they don't care about all that. They don't care about all that. They don't care. They don't care about all that. You see what I'm saying? You gotta be logical here, people. You gotta be logical. You know? All this manufactured drama is to distract you from what's really going on. This guy's getting the job done. This guy's kicking out the illegals out of here, especially the criminals. He's getting rid of them. He's cleaning up the mess from before. You know? Yeah, put it all the way. He went in there and just snatched a dictator, right? He snatched a dictator from Venezuela. The Venezuelan people are they're partying. Anybody from Venezuela, they're partying right now. I see many videos of them partying in tears. They're all grateful. Oh my God. Because remember, even months ago, they were asking him to intervene, to get rid of this guy. You know who's protesting out there in Brooklyn? It's not Venezuela. It's white liberals that are out there protesting outside the Brooklyn detention center. That's what's out there. And all of them, I guarantee they all got paid. They all got paid to do that. Like, they don't give a fuck about what really happens in Venezuela. They're just getting paid because they're trying to make this man look bad. That's all it is. This is all it is. All this shit is TDS. Next level TDS. For the whole year, it's been TDS. And my newsflash for all you people that are suffering on, TDS, you got 3 more years. So buckle up. I'm just saying. Seriously, this is funny shit. But, like I said, when I walk down the street and I see a liberal, I look at them and they look all miserable. They got that fucking droopy look on their face. They got mad wrinkles. You ever heard of the hating? You ever heard of that saying? Hating only gives you wrinkles. That's true, but when you hate, you get more wrinkles as a hater. You get more wrinkles as a hater. Okay? And that's what's happening. These fucking people, they're fucking insane. And they're going to have to put that fucking on the DSM. If you study psychology like I did, there's a book called the DSM. That's where all the psychological, psychiatric, symptoms and conditions are all listed there. And you know what's gonna wind up in there one day? Trump derangement syndrome, TDS. It's gonna wind up in that book. They're gonna make it official one day. You suffering from TDS. You just can't fucking. The man lives in your head. That's it. He fucking rent free. He's in your head all fucking day.
And they don't like Trump and they don't like ICE, and they immediately start obstructing ICE, and when ICE is trying to do their job.
Yeah.
And had she just stayed home today or the other day, she just stayed home and stayed away from there, she'd still be alive.
Hey,
but
Martin, like I'm saying, Martin, you're right, but you know what? Honestly,
go grocery shopping.
While you and I think it's misguided and
drop the kid off, you go grocery shopping.
More sophisticated.
You'd be alive today.
Than
you see what I'm saying?
People, I think her intentions can be earnest and irresponsible at the same time. Maybe she really felt if I can sort of be a stick in the spokes, a fly in the ointment or whatever. Okay, but you know what? All bets are off when law enforcement says, all right, out of here, move that vehicle. Or eventually he says, get out of the vehicle, ma'am. Get out of the vehicle.
You have to obey. I mean, that's a simple idea that most normal people understand, that law enforcement is there to enforce the law. And when they tell you to do something, you do that.
And you know what? Now, and definitely she'd be alive if she had just done that.
Just listen to what she was told to do.
She could have done that thing.
Go
ahead.
She's also a poet. She wrote some crazy poems.
Yeah.
She
sends her kid to a social justice elementary school where they teach about George Floyd and that sort of thing. George Floyd is a god at this kid's school.
So these people on that side have been brainwashed and they've been indoctrinated into a
white liberal too, by the way.
I'm
going to mention it. She was also a white liberal.
Point now is
they live with that guilt. I don't know why. I don't know why they have this guilt.
They're all right. Whatever they think that they're right, and ICE is wrong. Trump is wrong. Police are all racist. Everybody else that doesn't agree with them is the enemy. That's all they know at this point. That's and
white, lesbian,
the Democrat politicians just keep on throwing more gasoline on the fire.
And that's unfortunate. It's so irresponsible, Martin. You're
like
so right. You're right.
Here.
You're right. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, Martin, for calling in. Thank you. Great first call. I appreciate that. And gas on the fire. Irresponsible. And again, too, if you want, if anybody was hoping, at the outset for some sort of, to make a leap to thinking they're going to get some sort of, some charges on this ICE agent or something like that. One way to blow it is to jump ahead and call the guy a murderer. You'll never get a fair trial. They'll throw that out.
Yeah, just like they did with Derek Chauvin.
1-800-848-9222.
And by the way, I think he's going to get acquitted. when Trump leaves office. I think Chauvin is going to get commuted.
When we come back, we got Tom Gerald.
I hope he does. I hope they
ready
commute
to
his
roll
sentence.
here on another side of midnight.
Because he should have never went to prison.
Please give a call.
There you go. There I said it.
With gut on this. Well, yeah,
Derek Chauvin is
I know
innocent.
Some nuanced thoughts out there.
Innocent, I tell you.
You just heard Martin say.
You're not going to hear it anywhere else but here.
Is brainwashed. Let me ask you this.
Man is innocent.
Are you getting the sense that some on the right? I mean, there's a lot of intellectual honesty happening on the right. And it's good because it kind of shows that if we're being really honest with ourselves, there are some pretty damn brainwashed MAGAs out there. Because I see a lot of intellectual honesty in Congress. I just saw a bunch of Republicans that broke from the Trump administration and passed, voted to restrict some moves in Venezuela and other war powers. Clearly, I have to educate myself more on that. We're going to take a quick break. It is 48 minutes past the hour. We come back. We've got Tom, Geraldine, Jacqueline, and you. 1-800-848-9222. It's another side of midnight with me, TJ.
It's another side of midnight. Listen to this podcast now
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Positively Ernie, the podcast.
Victoria Chef, fill in the blank. What the world needs now is...
Oh, I'm always about love, you know. Family.
Anyway, after I hear from Jacqueline, because I just love Jacqueline. If that's Jacqueline from Brooklyn, oh my God, I do love her voice. Sorry. And then I'll tune around. Good morning, my Ready DX sir. Yes, I don't know if you've seen the live stream and all that from earlier. I set up what was I say? AirSpy SDR with FMDX web server. So I replaced I took offline the TF6686 and I replaced it with the AirSpy. So I'm gonna make a video on that. There's a video already out there on it on how to set up the SDR, how to set up RTL SDR with FMDX. But I'm gonna go ahead and make a video on how to set up an AirSpy SDR with FMDX web server. I'm gonna make that video soon. Since I already set mine up, it's working fine right now. It's online right now, so you can go check it out. It's working well. It's been online all day today. I'm doing tests on it. It's working well. Of course, the only issue with the AirSpy is that there's no auto bandwidth. Obviously, there's no auto bandwidth. So you don't have that feature. But it's a lot more quieter. I notice it. Because, one thing about the TF6686, unit that we have is the display. I believe the display does bring a little bit of noise. I remember Kevin O'Reilly made a review on it a couple of years ago, and he complained about it. He said that it was kind of noisy. So in my case, I remember I had to lower the brightness quite a bit. So that's why they now they have the headless TF6686 for the servers. Of course, I'm not gonna buy one because they're like super expensive. But the AirSpy, I noticed a difference right away in terms of the audio. It's much more cleaner, less noise. And by the way, another thing I noticed about the TF6686 that we have is that, remember, that's an analog output in terms of the audio into the USB sound card. With the AirSpy, is USB all the way into the computer. There's no audio connection. It's all USB. So you get a digital connection no matter what. You get digital audio straight from the SDR. So I noticed right away the audio is a lot cleaner. It just sounds better. You know, is it more sensitive than the TF-5686? It's on par with it. You know, you can DX with the S5. You can DX with it. Is it on par with it? No, it's very close. However, the audio is so much cleaner. Much cleaner. Much cleaner. So, you know, yeah. So I look forward to seeing it, and we'll check out your website later. Yeah, check it out. But yeah, definitely the audio is much cleaner. Big difference. Because remember, it's all digital audio now. It's not like the radio that we have is analog, then it goes to the sound card, then the sound card has to convert it to digital. So there is kind of a little bit of a, you know, oh my God. That's the furnace. So, I mean, it sounds scary because I'm right here in the boiler room. But yeah, definitely I noticed the audio is so much cleaner. So right there, it's like wow. So I'm gonna shoot a video on it, and you know, because I know you have the S-Spy, right? You do have the S-Spy also, I believe. So yeah, I definitely if you want to, you know, you can host that, and you know, I'll make the video on it. All right, where is my there you go.
That same songbook, the same page in the hymn book. Once a chorus of Hallelujah.
I'm just trying to get my viewing hours in.
From the conservative side of the,
trying to catch up on the viewing hours, so
just like the Democrats do.
And thank you for watching.
Come the king. Is that more of a goat than a sheep? 1-800-848-9222. If you're a Republican, tell me what Republican could you just do without? And not because they're a rhino. That's cheating. I'll give you mine.
All right, take care, Glenn Naslund. Thank you for watching.
I don't know who. I
can't stay awake any longer. Okay, thank you. Well, thank you for watching, my friend. I didn't even know you was here, but thank you.
Red Apple.
And God bless your grandson.
I'll give you mine.
God bless your grandson. God bless you and your family. Love you, bro.
I'm not going to cop out and say Marjorie Taylor Greene. That's easy.
Love you, bro.
I'll give you two. And God Almighty, I don't know if she's going to show up at my house and.
I love you too, bro. Married, yes, I love all you guys. You guys are the best.
And
I got the best audience.
I'll go with Lindsey Graham.
I got the best and the smartest audience.
I'll give you two.
On my
if
channel.
You're a Democrat, I'll give you $50 if you please call up and tell me which Democrat just you think goes too far. Which one embarrasses you if you're a Democrat? And Republican, same thing. What Republican embarrasses you? 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Tom in Jersey, line 2. Good morning, Tom.
Happy New Year.
And
Not
to
so
you.
happy so far, huh?
Yes, yeah, right.
Okay, now, number one, all right, first of all, you're going to hear, what I'm going to tell you is not what you're going to hear from anyone else. And a lot of people may not agree.
Okay.
Okay, so, number one, I believe, I saw the video, and if you slow it down really slow, no matter what speed it is, number one, it's sloppy.
Yep.
Very sloppy police work.
Absolutely.
All right.
Sure.
Number two.
Sure.
All right. They didn't have to pull the trigger, and if they did, they could have used a burner. You know what a burner is, right?
Help me with that.
A non-lethal weapon.
Non-lethal. Sure. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Understood.
Now they didn't have to shoot her in the face, and then number three, they could have had caught up with her in another car and pitted her. I'm telling you right now, this was, no one is going to agree with me. But if you look at it and listen to what I'm saying, I'm right.
Tom, I agree with you. I agree with you. It was sloppy.
No,
it was
I know.
awful.
I don't think a lot of other people
No,
are.
sure. And yet,
telling you.
And Tom, you know what, too, buddy? And I see you, what you're saying, and I'll raise you. All she had to do was comply, and it mitigates
just get out the car.
Everything we're talking about. Right?
Yeah,
all she has to do.
Because Tom sounds like a fucking moron. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it. No, you're in front of the vehicle. You're telling her to get out the car. and she steps on the gas. What are you supposed to do? And the burner, that's bullshit. Okay, the burner, what? The burner, whatever the fuck it is. What, you're gonna hit it with pepper balls, and the car's still gonna be rolling? Are you fucking stupid? Are you fucking serious? That's what, I know what the burner. The burner is that pepper ball, non-lethal gun, or a taser. Even if you tase the person, that vehicle is still gonna roll toward the officer. So you make no fucking sense. You make no sense. You know? All she had to do was, get out the vehicle. She would have been arrested for obstructing. Instead, no, she tried to get away. And when you try to get away, if somebody's in front of the vehicle, now even though you're trying to get away, once somebody's in front of the vehicle, that is attempted murder. You're trying to plow or run over the officer that's in front of the vehicle. There's no way around that. When you was told to leave the vehicle, you needed to leave the vehicle. That's it. There's no negotiating at that point. People don't understand that. When you get the order to leave the vehicle, that means you don't step on the gas. Hello, common sense. That means that you're going to be under arrest and you need to leave the vehicle. Otherwise, you're going to risk getting shot. Okay, especially if you're trying to run over an officer.
Saturday, January 10th. Good morning, I'm Lisa Ritchie. At least 2 major American cities are on edge following a pair of high-profile incidents involving federal ICE agents. Michael Kastner reports.
Protests have not stopped in Minneapolis since Wednesday's deadly shooting of a 37-year-old woman by an ICE agent. The feds have claimed the victim was attempting to harm the agent with her vehicle, while the video from the scene appears to many to contradict that version of events. On the West Coast, Homeland Security says agents were attempting a traffic stop on an alleged Venezuelan gang member on Thursday in Portland, Oregon, when the driver tried to run over the agent and shots were fired, sending 2 people to the hospital. After that incident, the city's mayor, Keith Wilson, said, "We're calling on ICE to halt all operations in Portland until a full and independent investigation can take place." I'm Michael Kastner.
Johnson & Johnson has reached an agreement with the Trump administration to cut drug prices in the U.S. in exchange for exemption from Trump's tariffs. Monica Nelson has more.
In a statement, the pharmaceutical giant said as part of the agreement, Johnson & Johnson will participate in the planned website TrumpRx.gov, which will allow millions of American patients to purchase medicines from Johnson & Johnson.
Let me tune some other bands now. I guess Jacqueline is not going to... I want to hear soothing voice, but forget it. I can't play music. Sorry, I'm not going to play music.
He receives every year, and I do continue to...
Let me go down to... It's too noisy over here.
Surgery pioneers goal 2. Dr. Lederman is first in America, first in New York, first for you with body radiosurgery. Dr. Lederman hits your cancer with no cutting, no bleeding. Dr. Lederman has decades of experience with primary and metastatic large or small cancers from head to toe. Cancer treatment with possibly a second chance for you, even if chemo, radiation, or surgery didn't work or isn't tolerated. Goals are your best results and quality of life. Meet Dr. Lederman to hit the cancer. He's New York's only Harvard-trained, triple board-certified radiation oncologist. Call 212-CHOICES. 212-CHOICES.
All right, I'm going to move it over to the other side because this side is very susceptible to noise. So let me move this over here. And then I'm going to lower down the this guy. I'll lower this guy down. I'm going to put it right there. Then I'm going to tilt this. Hopefully I can tilt it without breaking the... okay, here we go, sir. Of course, right now I got the TF5686, but there's no antenna, so I can't use this right now. So I'm gonna put it over here. Actually, I'm gonna keep the stand. Okay, let me clean this up. Wow, it's really dusty. Wow, it's been there for a long time. So now I'm gonna move the D808 over there. Put the volume up. Wow, it's very noisy. Holy moly, it's very noisy.
Otherwise, it's all.
Very noisy tonight.
Challenger is going to be terrible.
So I guess below 700 kilohertz is very noisy.
Welcome to Martin Moreno. And his knee restore object helps thousands reduce or get rid of their pain, as well as avoid surgery without downtime. The first 50 new patients mentioning WJR will get 50% off their treatment plan. Start 2026 offer called the Nerve and Disc Institute.
So WJR out of Detroit, Michigan.
Call their trainers and boom, your life can be saved. Call 586-416-3472.
I lost my son Johnny to suicide for he became psychotic from marijuana. THC increases
Let me narrow the bandwidth a little more. Hold on. 2.5, let me see.
on the heart of marijuana.
Public service message from
There you go. 1 kilohertz.
Discover a powerful cultural journey that Detroit Institute of Arts
1 kilohertz bandwidth.
a continuation. Explore over 90 stunning
Because 770 is bleeding over.
work by more than 60 Anishinaabe artists from the Great Lakes region. This exhibition challenges perceptions and showcases the centuries of enduring creative achievement. Here at the DIA from September 28, 2025 to April 5th, 2026. Admission is always free to residents of Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb counties. Learn more at DIA.org. Call us or text us. The number's the same. 1-800-859-0957. 1-800-859-0WJR. Powered by Michigan Auto Law. Auto Accident Attorney. Visit autolaw.com. That's autolaw.com.
Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Thank you for being here. Whoa. What? Iran could fall. I'll tell you, the likelihood is growing for sure. There's been so many stories to put together.
Red Eye Radio.
Also, a few different stories over recent days. One that said that leadership is sending out messages to allies, friends.
WJR to Detroit, Michigan.
We're running out of resources. Also, another story that said that the Ayatollah already has plans to take off to Russia. It's in fall with 20 members of his family. Yeah, 20 members of his family. That came from the Times of London. Right. And so, the fact that the story, different aspects of the big story, it keeps coming out in recent days.
That's the jingle from WABC.
To some extent, true.
So,
Greatly concerned, and that they're on that brink. It wouldn't be surprising. Well, when you see,
yeah.
it all started, you had shopkeepers closing up.
Yeah, exactly. That too, Maverick the Xer. Yeah. Sorry I had to move away before. I was going to say that my two TF86 radios are fine for noise. Yeah, mine is fine. Mine is good. Mine is good. I don't have complaints about mine. But other people have complained that the screen can bring a little bit of noise. But in my case, I did lower the brightness quite a bit. And but I never noticed that issue in mine. Mine is fine. So yeah, so my radios are fine with noise. I know there could be some quality control issues, some TF radios, as some have complained. Yeah, exactly. Like Kevin O'Reilly, he made a video about 2 years ago. He reviewed his radio. And he said that it's not that good because of the, whatever. And I was like, I'm surprised. And of course, he left a comment on one of my videos a long time ago, and he said, I'm surprised. And I told him, I said, no, my radio's fine. So I don't know, maybe he had a bad radio or whatever. And then I had a couple of other people that left comments on my channel over the years. Somebody called it absolute rubbish. That was the comment, that this radio is rubbish on medium wave. And I told him, are you nuts? I actually told him, are you nuts? You must have got a bad radio. Because this radio is great on all bands. However, there was a couple of people that did complain about the radio. I didn't have that problem. In my case right now with the server, I do notice a cleaner audio only because, remember, this is analog. This is an analog output. Unlike the headless TF 6686, that one is all digital connection. This one is not digital. This is analog coming from here. And this goes to a sound card. And then that sound card gets, and the computer gets processed. And then, so with the SDR, I don't have analog output. I only have this guy, the USB. And that's all digital. So I did notice right away that this, it was a cleaner audio. So that I didn't notice right away. When I went over to the AirSpy, I was like, wow, the audio is so much cleaner. Not as, not staticky sound or whatever and things like that. And I was like, wow. Just the audio, I noticed it was a lot, definitely was a lot cleaner. That's the word I'm trying to use, cleaner. But, yeah, my radio is fine. I love my radio. But some people have complained about the screen, bringing in noise, things like that. So, yeah. There you go.
And was weekend name was play surgeon of the greater area.
So 780 WBBM out of Chicago. Seven 780 WBBM. Oh, okay. I see. Mary Dexter. Okay. I noticed that the reverse with me, the TF online is cleaner than my ELAD SDR. Okay. Wow. Yeah. But I noticed the SDR, it's and remember the AirSpy SDR, the HF Plus Discovery is highly regarded. It's I know Lloyd D. Eccentric compared it to the Perseus. And that was his words, not mine. He said that the AirSpy HF Plus Discovery is on par with his Perseus. That was his words, not mine. And I was like, wow, really? He said, yeah. He said, really? Because I mentioned it, I think, on one of his live streams that I would like to get a Perseus, but I already own the Airspy HF Plus. He said, no. He said, don't. He told me, he said, don't waste your money. The Airspy HF Plus Discovery is as good as you're going to get in terms of, like, it's on par with a lot of high-end SDRs. That was his words.
Older night as the low drops down to 24. Then after an early flurry on Sunday, it stays rather blustery through the day, despite some sunshine returning with a high of just 32. That leads into a breezy but less cold Monday with sunshine and a high of 40, followed by more clouds for Tuesday. Another breezy day with a risk for a passing shower, high 46. I'm AQ weather meteorologist LaFoy Thornton.
It's 16 minutes past the hour, time for WBBM Sports. The Blackhawks are beat by the Capitals 5-1 at the United Center. The great Alex Ovechkin scored a goal. In the college football playoffs, Indiana routs Oregon 56-22, and the Hoosiers won the championship to play Miami.
Wow, Indiana! Wow. Indiana Hoosiers go to the national championship game, baby. Oh my God, they're gonna play Miami. Wow. Indiana Hoosiers going for the national championship in college football.
Good luck with Tom in this thing too. So I'm just going with the flow, working hard, just how everything has.
Indiana Hoosiers.
Even our practice has been so a lot of bugs, but like butterflies going around, but you know, football is there, so we gotta go out there and execute.
Butterflies, the better fly out of their systems come to 7 o'clock kickoff. Those will need to play better in meeting 3 with the pass than they did in meetings 1 and 2, even if meeting 2 did result in a Bears overtime win. Bears and Packers, 7 o'clock Saturday night, TV coverage on Amazon Prime or on Fox 32 locally. Before that is Browns, Panthers, and Carolina. With that, starting at 2:30 Saturday with all news continuing on 105. Surgery on his injured hand, ligament damage. He's out indefinitely. Memphis is soliciting offers for Mercurial point guard John Morant. Hockey wasn't that tired after a 7-game ban due to a shoulder issue. He returned to Blackhawks. 16-36 passing foul. 105 line, but coming up on 18 minutes after the hour, here's traffic and weather together on the 8th and for Healthy Minutes. You work hard. Earn a life you can call your own.
I have no idea what this is. 790. And it's not Radio Reloj out of Cuba, so I have no idea what this is. I have no idea. 800 is Canada.
I saw about 2 or 3 minutes, and it was really something.
CKLW out of Canada.
What size do you think it was? And you know, it was a saucer shape?
Yeah, it's saucer shape, aluminum shape, and it looked about medium size. I was enjoying the last tape person you talked to about that guy who touched those flying saucer over there in that.
Yeah.
Pretty neat.
That is pretty neat. That's the show I'm going to do on Monday night. I'm going to be interviewing him. Yeah.
That was pretty neat. But
Yeah.
that's one sad thing I saw, and there's another I wanted to tell you about. If it's okay, it won't take long.
No, that's fine, but let me ask you about the other one.
Yes, ma'am.
How did you know it was looking at what you said it was looking at? Was the beam of light on it, or was it just hanging around?
There's some kind of stove light, a light that kind of blinks back and forth from the saucer that was looking at the SR-71 near the cockpit. The SR-71 applies 2 people in that cockpit. It's a reconnaissance officer and a pilot. And it goes Mach 3+. Of course, the actual speed is classified. But they say for public information, it's Mach 3+.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And what was your vibe? Did you pick up a vibe from it at all?
Mysterious and unusual.
Okay. that worked.
You know, it really was.
So yeah, tell us a second.
All faith, because we had a party downtown. We had a party downtown at one of the cities that's close to Frontier Base, one of the Philippine cities, and we had a nice party there, music and stuff, and I wasn't drinking that much. I had a little bit, but I wasn't drinking that much. But I came by the Friendship Gate inside the base, and that right near supposed to be hangers.
Let's see, 810.
We were in traffic. I was in my car, and there wasn't that many cars on the highway.
Ken Martin, hello. I hope you're doing well. Thank you, and I hope you're doing well also.
And this is about 1975.
Okay. So when was the next one?
Okay, the next one, I was a first sergeant there at Beale Air Force Base, which is a home base that I came from, to Clark Air Base, Philippines. And I was there at Clark Air Base for a number of years. And I was the base records manager for the base. We took care of the Vietnam records that needed to be saved. And also, I was administration superintendent. Also, I was and the second one was, I had people, I didn't see this actually, but I had people come in to my office and want to file a FOI case. But they saw something over at the base headquarters parade ground, which is called 13th Air Force. And they saw it was starting right there. The aircraft was hovering in the middle of the 13th Air Force parade ground just for 2 or 3 minutes.
Right. And even on this day of mourning, they talked about...
WNYC, NPR station, BBC World Service right now.
Sarah Rainsford reporting from Switzerland.
We return to Venezuela now, which began releasing a large number, they say, of political prisoners, including several foreigners. The move praised by Donald Trump on Friday is a step towards cooperation after the capturing of President Nicolas Maduro. The releases, which began the day before, are the first since Maduro's former deputy, Delcy Rodriguez, took over as president. Mr. Trump says he is content to let her govern as long as she gives Washington access to oil. In a social media post, President Trump said the move was a sign of, quote, seeking peace, and called it a very important and smart gesture. He added that the U.S. and Venezuela were working well together, and said he cancelled the second wave of strikes against the country as a result of that cooperation. Well, for more on the development of the situation in Venezuela, I spoke to Juan Gonzalez, who served in the U.S. Department of State from 2004 to 2016 as a senior director for Western Hemisphere Affairs, and was on the National Security Council from 2021 to 24 during the Biden administration. I mean, I think there is a...
All right. Oh, my Ready Dexter, by the way, there is a new award on QRZ. You have to get 250 U.S. counties within the calendar year within this year, 2026, to get the award. Of course, we still have the 12 days of QRZ, which I already have, but I'm working on that one now. The America 250. It's called America 250. It's basically they're celebrating the 250th anniversary of our country. So for that one, you need 250 U.S. county contacts. So I think I'm already at 49. I've been doing it for the last week. The past week I just started doing it. So I'm up to 49. So hopefully by sometime in February I'll get the badge for that one. So yeah, 250 U.S. counties in 2026 to get that award. So I don't know if you up to speed with that, but if you want to get another badge, there you go. USA 250.
An indispensable ingredient for there to be long-term stability in the country. During the Biden administration, we did not employ the military because we knew that this would be the route that, the likelihood of it succeeding would be very, very low.
What about invitations for some of Venezuela's neighbors? I mean, President Trump has already spoken about Cuba, about Colombia. He mentioned Mexico. He's also said, with reference to the Monroe Doctrine, which talked about America's sphere of interest over the Western Hemisphere back in the 19th century, he's now renamed it the Donroe Doctrine under our new national security strategy. He said American dominance in the Western Hemisphere will never be questioned again. Where does that take him, do you think?
Certainly. I mean, I do believe that the efforts in Venezuela are really all directed at Cuba, which has up to now received supplies of oil and gas from Venezuela. Right now, Mexico is the largest supplier of oil and gas to Cuba, which is necessary for their survival. And in terms of the Monroe Doctrine, I think the historical mistake that Donald Trump is making is he's defaulting to the tools of Monroe and of Teddy Roosevelt to, in terms of gunboat diplomacy. Today, the battlefield in the Western Hemisphere and the competition for influence with China is economic. And the United States should be, keeping an eye to how China has integrated itself very much into the Western Hemisphere supply chain.
Also, I just started dabbling into CW. There is an app that's pretty good, and it starts out with the basic characters. Morse Mania. I just started using Morse Mania, and oh my God, that's a good app for learning CW. Especially, just right now, I'm starting with the characters, and you can level up fast. So I started dabbling with that Morse Mania. It's on the Google Play Store. I don't know about iOS. I have an Android phone, but Morse Mania is pretty good. And what you do is you actually listen to the tone, and then add the basic characters at first, and right away, it trains the ear to hear the tone, and And then you have to type in the letter to match it. It's pretty cool, actually. So I'm starting to, like, you know, because I would like to, hopefully by the end of this year, I would like to make a contact at CW. You know, my goal is 15 words a minute. And that's very, you know, modest goal. 15 words a minute. Of course, I have another device that I want to make a review on or an unboxing. But yeah, Morris Mania is a great app. Awesome app. Oh my God. It's like, wow. I'm loving the app already.
Producer and distributor of award-winning public radio content, APM, American Public Media, with support from Progressive Commercial.
Child is reported missing. That's too.
Actually, you know what? Let me take this off. I don't need this, actually. There we go. Yeah, nothing on 900.
Earned from winning the 2023 PGA Championship. The Commanders have stayed in-house.
There you go, MVP out of Chicago.
Elevated quarterback coach David Blau, despite just 2 years experience on the sidelines. The former undrafted free agent from Purdue spent 5 years in the league, now tasked with revitalizing an offense to miss Jaden Daniels for key stretches, but just 2 years removed from the NFC Championship game. And free agent outfielder Max Kepler has been suspended for taking a performance-enhancing substance. 32-year-old had 18 homers in 127 games for Philadelphia last season. Should he sign, the 80-game suspension stands. He'd also be ineligible for the 2026 postseason after serving that suspension. News from All Night Nation. Just hit us up on the Dr. Pepper call-in line. SportsCenter All Night, ESPN Radio. Turn back to college football. Not often the story of the game is effectively written on the first play. The Peach Bowl provided that rarity. Snap to Moore, he'll throw, 3-step drop, fires to the left, picked off at the 20-yard line, in return for a touchdown by D'Angelo Pons. On the first play from scrimmage, a pick six for Indiana. 11 seconds into the game, it is nothing Hoosier. Pons named the game's defensive MVP, and from the opening play, the Hoosiers were in control. How it sounded as the clock hit all zeros on ESPN Radio. Under center, Fernando Mendoza takes the snap, takes the knee. The players head to midfield to shake hands as the clock ticks down. Inside 10 seconds as it hits 000. The Indiana Hoosiers continue their incredible, improbable run. as they advance to their first ever national championship game. It'll be Indiana and Miami in Miami for the national title on January 19th. Never in doubt, the Indiana Hoosiers dismantle Oregon 56-22. Dave Pass, Dusty Dvorak, hold it on ESPN Radio out to Atlanta for their post-game thoughts. Dave. Thank you, Mike. Indiana had a pick six to start the game, and the Hoosiers never looked back. They win it 56-22 over Oregon. They embarrass Alabama in the Rose Bowl. They do it to Oregon here in
Indiana,
the
bro. They're for real, bro. Indiana, baby.
Miami in the national championship.
Wow.
You and I have been doing this for 5 years together.
Indiana Hoosiers, baby.
There's a few games, if ever, we've done that there's a play that sets the tone of a game. The way that D'Angelo Pond pick six sets the tone for this game. It just shows you the laser focus, the attention to detail that this Indiana team had coming into this game. That set the stage, but it was Fernando Mendoza that took them to the next level. Yes, there were 3 turnovers in the first half by this Oregon football team, but Fernando Mendoza was surgical throwing the ball. 5 touchdowns, just 3 incompletions. It was a total team effort, but Fernando Mendoza, for me, reminded everybody why he's the best player in all of college football. Most intriguing matchup of the national championship game. Is it Mendoza against that defensive line of Miami? Yes, it is. And nobody's been able to hold this offense in check really this year. Ohio State did a pretty good job in the Big Ten championship game, but I think right now the way this Miami defense is playing as well as anybody in the country, and those 2 edge rushers, Hakeem Mesidor, Ruben Bain, they're going to have to slow down this run game, and they must get after Fernando Mendoza to put a stop and to slow down this Indiana offense. That'll be Monday, January 19th in Miami. Miami and Indiana for the national championship. The final score here at the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. The Hoosiers 56, Oregon 22. For Dusty Dvorak, I'm Dave Pash right here in the exclusive home of the College Football Playoff, ESPN Radio, and the ESPN app. Let's go back to Mike Watts now in the studio. Thank you, Dave. So it is the 2 best playoff teams. Let's take their talents to South Beach. Top seed Indiana, 10th seed, arguably last in the field, Miami Hurricanes. In what felt like a 1,000,000 to 1 odds matchup back in August, David and Goliath meet for the championship in what you could call a historic role reversal. ESPN analyst Louis Riddick looking back at Thursday's Fiesta Bowl. Ole Miss was on the cusp of reaching the championship game, but the U is back.
You tip your cap to both of these football teams. You tip it to Ole Miss because you're heartbroken for them. You're heartbroken for these kids. You could see it on Trinidad State, what it meant to him and what it meant to this entire football team. But Miami, hey, look, done a couple of their games this year. What Mario has done down there, he has resurrected an absolute sleeping giant. He's resurrected it, and they're going to be even better next year. They're going to be better next year. And Carson Beck, how good of a story is that? This is a guy who didn't even know if he would be able to throw this year, if he would be okay. And then when he had that bad stretch in the middle of the season, people were saying, well, Carson Beck's out of here. He's not that good. This is just why Georgia moved on from him, and they said, go ahead and hit the transfer portal. Now look at him.
Look at him indeed. Rich Eisen on the Canes and Carson Beck reaching the national championship game now just 10 days away.
They're winning in the trenches. They got the quarterback play from Carson Beck that they were hoping for when they got him in the portal from Georgia, and everybody thought he's finished. He's going to go to the U. End of story. Good to see you. You're not in the SEC anymore. And who did he beat to make the national championship game for the U but an SEC team in Ole Miss? And if I'm not mistaken, didn't Lane Kiffin have some words to say about Carson Beck leaving Georgia and getting to Miami? Google it.
Well, yeah, Google it. You could Google me. Talk about that in a minute. As for Indiana, their Heisman-winning quarterback, Fernando Mendoza, quick to tell Katie George, this isn't the most talented team in college football.
And this is just such a great opportunity for my entire team. Like Pat Dugan said, we're a bunch of misfits. There's 0 5-stars on our team.
That's right, baby. Here you go.
It's built to perform, designed to impress, and you can get 30% off now with promo code BOOMER at ChefIQ.com. Again, that's promo code BOOMER at ChefIQ.com.
In 1010 Wins Entertainment, your time, our time, no more fight. In this corner, one the strikes from boxing movie Undercard will be released at the end of February. Sykes plays Cheryl No Mercy Stewart, a former boxing champ and a recovering alcoholic, in her dramatic debut, which is already getting a lot of buzz. Good news, fans of Black Mirror. Netflix has confirmed that the series has been renewed for an 8th season. If you like White Lotus, you are in luck as well. Season 4 is going to shoot at a 19th century castle hotel in Saint-Tropez on the Côte d'Azur in France. Filming season 4 will begin the end of April and continue through the end of October. It's one of several places which are going to host the HBO show. The plot, however, that's still... Cast been added.
Anyway, it's 10:40 out of Iowa. It's very staticky right now. I'm going to end the live stream here. Thank you for watching, everybody. Have a great weekend. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.